Okay, welcome to episode number 18. This week we are talking about our hometown, Aberystwyth. We're going to be talking about positives, negatives, things to do, memories, everything we can think of. So,
at least the Aberystwyth.
The Aberystwyth, exactly. So should we start from the beginning? Childhood? Been brought up in Aberystwyth?
Yeah.
And the surrounding areas?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's a good place to grow up.
Yes.
It's a hell of a place to grow up.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Safe.
totally agree. Yeah.
Loads to do, outdoorsy.
Very green.
Yeah.
Also, like parks, the ocean,
Yeah.
forest. If you just go out a little bit further, it's got, actually got like Danacoid Woods. Even it's just across the.
Grew up.
It's got everything.
Grew up to the age of 7. I was on Danacoid, top of the hill, and that's me and my brothers playing ground up there, making dens and everything. Just thing is, back then as well, I think we could just. I'm sure we were like out for the whole day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just go home when you're hungry.
And I remember really like feeling tired when I got home as a kid, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a little tantrum, obviously, because that's what I do." But I remember going to sleep like that,
Out, because you're a full-on day, aren't you?
and you got dirty jeans or whatever you're wearing.
Yeah.
Loads of cuts, bruises, hands killing because you've been making dens and sticks, or you find some matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's another story.
It's just a different time now, though, isn't it? Because you could have a little bit of that with your kids now, or maybe if you're in a really rural area, it might be easier to do that. But things have changed, haven't they? It is in, like, I don't know, a huge example is something like Madeleine McCann. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent here.
Yeah.
But back in the day when we were kids, I feel like the danger element just felt lower, particularly in somewhere like Aberystwyth. It was as if like nothing would ever happen. And it's like, yeah, no worries, be back for your food.
Yeah.
Go and play mob.
Yeah.
As long as they come back for like 8, 9 o'clock at night, come back home for like sundown and everything's okay. It's different now, isn't it? Even in Aberystwyth, I think it's different. I trust my kids to do things, but I don't know. Some weirdos out there.
There are some weirdos out there. We have gone down the crime tangent a little bit, but then do you think it's always been there, or do you think it's just because of media?
It's a good question. I think the world's getting worse personally.
Yeah.
in like a weird way. Is in like I feel like people are getting, not everybody. I think like the weirdos are maybe getting weirder, like because of things like social media and loads of other things. And
yeah, it's evolved a little bit.
Complex issue. It wasn't to say that there wasn't some absolute nutters in the 70s and 80s and things like that, but I felt like you didn't really hear as much of it, of someone going
maybe
missing.
that's the thing. Maybe it's because it's easy to spread this news that, social media, you just tap your phone 4 times and you've sent something, and maybe that's why.
Sometimes it does take something absolutely horrendous. So it happens in the health and safety world as well. Sometimes you but something will happen in order for change to come. Yeah. So, like, it could be anything, like, I don't know, scaffolding or something. Like, and then you think, right, we'll add nets to that because, when they were building out of bamboo, they're falling off and things.
The old risk assessment is on the tip of my tongue. Yeah.
I know, we're going on some mad tangents here, but things develop and things change, don't they?
Yeah,
and then a massive case like Madeleine McCann probably made everybody change the way they were thinking about leaving their kids in wherever
it might be.
Or whatever. But yeah, sorry. Didn't mean to go into a crime tangent at all.
No. It's fine though, because I mean,
it's very real.
How many hours and days me and my brother used to spend sort of just like hanging out like on our own.
Yeah.
Just around like the woods and things, you know. And I didn't really think anything of that, but obviously my mum and dad had trust, and so it was obviously different then.
This is
it
what
would
I
have
mean.
been.
I think it was different.
I would certainly think twice now.
Yeah. And then I had like I think there are places where you get a big group of friends, like on the estate that I grew up in Kevin-esque, sort of on the Wine, and I live there now, but it's totally different now because hardly anybody is sold up on that estate, so everybody's older. But when I lived there with my parents, so when I was younger, throughout the 80s, I suppose, and then early 90s, there was loads of kids my own age on that estate, so you go out and play yob and Kirby and like whatever you're playing, and it's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have all that. And then my estate's really changed because no one's sold. If you know what I mean. So like those people are just older,
Still
and then maybe they have.
So is your gang, are all the kids, are they all just like Yahoo? Going down on scooters.
That's the one. Go and hang out with Mildred up there. So, but no, there are some, but just it was very different to the way I remember my childhood estate because just of the age group or whatever. But going back to Aber, it is a fantastic place to grow up in, I think, and amazing place to raise kids. And there's loads of other elements to the sort of being a kid or raising a kid. You get those things like schools seem pretty good. You don't have to do the whole catchment area of the schools or anything. You just kind of seem to be able to send your kid to a good school.
There's loads of schools here.
There's loads.
There are lots of
There's
schools,
good schools
in
as well,
Aberystwyth.
They are good schools.
And you're right about that catchment area, because we moved back and we sort of almost fell into the, not the trap, but you can get, you need to get the better house to get in a better area to get your kids into a particular school. Everyone has to do it if you live in a city. But you're right, really lucky here that no matter where you live, you can just throw them in to whichever school as long as there's space.
Yeah.
And I tell you one thing as well is moving, you've got to put things into perspective a little bit. Living in Aberystwyth and taking your kids to school in the morning, which could take 5 minutes, could take an hour if you're in the city.
Oh, easy.
That's the thing about Aberystwyth.
That stressed me so
Everything's
much.
so easy here. Like I find
You can walk to anywhere.
Exactly.
Like,
I think it's absolutely brilliant for
what
that.
is it? Is it 20 minutes or half an hour to anywhere in Aber? Like if you walk from A to B? Like
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it makes sense.
I'm absolutely fuming when I get caught in traffic for about 7 minutes.
Yeah, and you see people walking or cycling, you're like,
Literally, I can see like one set of traffic lights. I'm like, what the hell? You know?
Yeah.
Why me?
okay. So on that, there's a con, which is the one-way system has changed like over the last. Well, COVID, isn't it? COVID, it all changed.
Yeah.
Before that, I think it's a little bit better now. But before that, it was an absolute wreck, I think. Whenever there was, like, schools would kick out or, the rush hour after work, you ain't moving for ages.
No.
Or, I saw it maybe last year. A lorry had broken down at the top of the hill just behind us.
Yeah.
That caused tailbacks all through town, up both hills, all the way to the Wine.
I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember it. We were on our way to town.
What the hell's going on?
And I was there for ages as well, wasn't it?
A long time.
A long
It can't
time.
handle it though. It's not
Can't handle it.
designed.
No, it needs to be
It's not designed
pumping.
For,
It needs to be
No.
trickling through.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though. The whole one-way system, I think a lot of people are quite negative about it, but I think that's worked really well.
I think it works really
and
well.
because the businesses can put their seats and everything outside,
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, I love that.
It's-
More
when
of
you-
that, please.
Definitely. And in the summertime when you're walking through, it looks great.
Yeah.
Say the cafes are busy and you've got like people sitting outside just
So
having a coffee.
attractive,
It's
isn't
like
it?
that's cool. It's like
Oh, I love
like
it.
being on holiday. I think it's really positive
I'm
for the
sure
town.
it would cause a bit of chaos for deliveries,
Yes.
work,
Parking.
people, parking,
Yeah,
etc. But
yeah.
I'd love the main street to be completely done, like
Pedestrianised.
pedestrianised. I'd love that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how possible it is, but from like the pier down to the King's Hall,
Oh, really?
imagine
on the
all
prom.
of that was just like pedestrians.
I think as long as you can get
real.
certain vehicles down it, if you need to,
Yeah,
like
you plan it. You wouldn't just go.
No, I mean like like maybe like workers are allowed to go on a permit between the
Yeah.
hours of 8 and 5 because otherwise things like that can cause a nightmare of like grabbing your tools
what I
out and
mean,
then
it'd be
walking it. Yeah.
awful. Yeah.
Or like emergency services. But yeah, you're right. Like basically pedestrianised unless you have like a ticket to go down there or something.
Because like in Cardiff, 'cause I lived there for a bit, they'll have bollards which raise or go down. So then it's deliveries.
There's
whatnot.
there's ways to do it.
Yeah. Does it need a bypass? Yes or no?
To where?
Aber.
As in,
As in, if you're driving sort of through Aber, as some people do, not tons, I suppose.
Do you mean like a Newtown bypass?
Yeah,
So like
Yeah.
bypass Aber.
as in, you don't need to drive through Aberystwyth. So I don't know how to think about this now. Maybe if you came from, trying to think where most of the traffic goes. A lot of the traffic goes out
Loves
south,
Grove way,
doesn't it?
okay.
So there's two, isn't there? Really, one of them's Loves Grove, and one of them's just up here, out in
Southgate.
Parky.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? If you could bypass having to drive through, but then I guess the only congested bits are Llanbaden, Morrison's roundabout, Penparky, and out. I suppose. So
Yeah.
bypass wouldn't help a ton, I suppose.
I wonder what that would do to the town as well, though, if it
True.
bypassed. Because remember Llandyssil? You used to have to drive through Llandyssil all the time.
And then you'd
And
stop, maybe grab a coffee, or
I wonder what that's done to like local businesses.
maybe driven it down.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Or made everybody really happy.
But they're doing a
You know what I
bypass
used to hate
now.
getting stuck in Newtown though.
Oh.
You just used to like go past that like petrol station, I think it was, and then there was like shops and stuff, and you're just literally there, just sitting
And there's
there
traffic
going,
lights,
oh
there's
my
traffic lights, there's
God.
traffic lights, there's
Oh
traffic
my
lights.
God.
Apparently it was quite bad anyway. But then when Tesco's was built, I think it's Tesco.
Yeah, I think it is.
went
Yeah,
crazy. Oof, like really, really bad. But they're building a bypass. I drove past it the other day. They're building a bypass by just out of Mach.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
they?
yeah.
So what is that doing?
What I know about it is it's to do with cutting off the Dovey Bridge. So you know the bridge that just outside of Mac, the
Yeah.
floods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That area there is so congested sometimes. It's like dangerous. And the
Right,
bridge,
okay.
bridge is probably old as hell.
Yeah.
So they're bypassing from Mac railway station straight over to the main road, basically
Okay.
over a field. So you don't even have to go down that small road anymore.
Great.
And if something
It's
does flood,
that's a really good bypass, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
if something does flood,
It won't stop traffic at all.
exactly. Like if it's the main route in, everyone's like, oh my God, you know, like crazy diversions are happening then. Do you know what I mean?
Dude,
You're
if
full of
you-
yellow signs.
If you live anywhere, anywhere on the Aberystwyth Road, you know, like you can see Aberystwyth from Innislash.
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're like, it's just there.
Yeah. You can almost touch it.
And then, but if you want to get there, it's like about an hour's drive.
Takes ages.
Yeah.
Bring
But
back the
imagine you work
hovercraft.
there. No, you live there, and you have to get to Aber for work, and that bridge is out because of the flood. You got to go around Dinas Mouthy. Like it's another it's probably a 2.5 hour drive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are
Gotta
some
do that.
main roads that, yeah, if something happens, like a flood is a good example. It's trashed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we? Yeah. What do you want to do? The childhood pros and cons. What do you want to
I mean,
talk about?
I used to spend all my money in the pier when I was a kid. I remember that much.
Used to spend a little bit in the beer, definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm relatively new to the party here because I was brought up just out of town. I was
Oh,
brought
you were,
up
weren't
in
you?
Treadhall, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
that's true.
moved to Aberystwyth to Llanbaden when I was like 13 or 14 years old. So I'd done a couple of years in school in the school bus,
Yeah.
and then it was a shock. It was an absolute shock. There was always something to do. And my friends were always doing something, and it was just like, I don't go home and it's just woods anymore. You know, it's just like, whoa, there's concrete, there's parks, there's little hidey holes, there's naughty things to do. You know, got into some mischief, a lot of mischief. I mean, what kid doesn't? You know,
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
All been there.
You know, you find your nearest derelict building and get those windows done. You know, just explore, don't you? And
Yeah.
have a really good time. And then it's 8 o'clock at night, you got to go home.
Or getting hungry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mum.
Yeah. Because you went to Cwmpaden school, didn't you?
I went to Cwmpaden school first, yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to Taliesin school first.
Okay.
And then I went to Cwmpaden, which is now shut.
Yeah.
It's been shut for probably over a decade. Can't remember.
Yeah, it's been
No
shut.
one's doing anything with it, as
Long
far as I
time.
can tell. It's all like nature's taking it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago. I
It's very
remember working
dystopian
there.
up there.
Yeah, it probably was a fair few years ago. I think you're right. It has been closed a while.
Was
hasn't
it a good
that
school,
one?
mate?
Really good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I can remember, I went through 2 headmasters. I had Griffo. I can't actually remember his name. Mr. Griffiths, his name was. I can't remember his first name, but Griffo we used to call him. He was terrifying.
Was he?
He gave you those eyes, you know.
Old school head
Old
teacher,
school
so.
head teacher, yeah. So this is in the tail end of the 80s and the 90s, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we had Jeff James,
What a hero.
who changed. He changed my life literally personally. I was completely obsessed with sport because of him. Started following Man United. Started wanting to run. Started wanting to play rugby, football, everything. Swimming. I owe a lot of my, sporting ability to that man.
Wow.
He's a really, really nice
I think
man.
I remember
Good
him
statement.
coming to Plas Creek and doing like stuff in Plas Creek's small swimming pool with like canoes or kayaks.
Jeff James.
I'm pretty sure it was
Possibly,
him.
Yeah, Jeff James. I'm sure he was in Plas Creek before he went to be head teacher.
Yeah, I
in
think
That's
that
Cwmpaden.
rings a
maybe-
bell, yeah.
So he
Yeah,
was
so
with
maybe
us
he didn't
early
come
on.
in. Maybe he was a teacher there anyway. But I just remember having to like capsize the kayak or canoe in that little swimming pool and then going underneath into the canoe, isn't it, and breathing that horrible
The ear
air
pocket.
in the ear pocket, and then going back around. Health and safety. Don't know if you could do that now. And then we went into like cave. We did like caving. I think it might have been with
Pendine?
him as well.
Did you go to Pendine? I can't
think-
remember what age that
Where
was.
you like swimming under stuff,
Oh, really?
popping up, and I'm thinking like,
Because Mrs. Sweeney was there, and is she still in Plas Creek, Mrs. Sweeney? I'm
she
sure.
she
I don't
was
know.
a few years ago,
Yeah.
but I'm going back probably like 4 or 5 years ago when I can remember working there last at that school.
At the school.
And she was then
Yeah, but
Whether
another
she's
really
in,
good PE teacher at the time as well.
Don't know.
Really good.
Don't know. Yeah.
So Mr. James, just a little quick story about him. He'd never blow his top. Like he'd never get shouty, but he'd say this one thing. He'd say, "Med or Meredith," back in those days. He'd go, "Meredith, you and me are gonna fall out in a big way." I'm like, oh. Sorry. Yeah, good times. And then moving up into secondary school was such a strange experience because I think most of my year in Cwmpadan went to Penwethig, I think.
Right,
Was it a Welsh-speaking school in Cwmpadan? Like first?
No, not first, but probably similar to Plascreg. Like you had to do Welsh, or you'd sing your little hymn in the morning in Welsh or whatever. But then
certain amount was Welsh.
But then no, the majority was English, I think. I don't know. Now you mention it though, I think we did loads of our Christmas nativities in Welsh and stuff.
I think we
and
did
I do.
Greek. I think it was kind of not something wasn't pushed on us, but it was Welsh. You know, we'd sing a lot of the Welsh hymns and little carols and things like that. And
probably very similar.
Yeah,
amount. Yeah,
but I don't think we certainly wouldn't have been ready to go from Plascreg to Penwethig at that time.
Oh, okay.
No, because I don't think I learned. Probably to do with me as well, being disruptive, not listening maybe, but I didn't really learn a lot of Welsh in Plascreg, and that's why, or at least I think is why I don't really speak Welsh now, or I only speak a very small amount of Welsh now, is because either it didn't go in or there wasn't enough Welsh.
I don't think it was pushed on us at the time enough, I don't think. And again, it might have been the same with me, and maybe I didn't enjoy it or what, I don't know.
Yeah.
I do regret it now, though.
Definitely.
I do really regret. I've learned a heck of a lot since being with Kat, obviously. But if it's so beneficial if you've got Welsh. If you're living in Wales.
Yeah, if you're living in Wales. But
to be bilingual, your CV is going to be like...
Yeah, I mean, so not to get too controversial about it, like it's great to have as a language, but like unfairly sometimes, I think. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But no, you're right though.
You know
it is, or it can be, because sometimes they do ask for it, don't they? On a job application, it might say that Welsh is either a must or it's like preferable.
Yeah,
or you know what I mean. And then say you've got very, very similar level of experience and qualifications, that could be the clincher.
Yeah, definitely.
Whether you can speak it or not. But yeah, you're right. If you stay in Wales, and being bilingual. Surely it's not a bad thing. I don't know.
No,
I've stopped learning it for work purposes. Really, it's really interesting language. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful language. But I think I went through a phase before I got this job of, oh my god, I have to learn Welsh. And it became not fun. Now I'm learning it on my own steam, and it's just way more fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I really want to do? I really want to go to, I think pronunciation, Nant Gwytheon, which is up in North Wales, right? And it's like a crash course.
Yeah, and you stay in that little
place.
Yeah.
And you're thrown into the deep end at the end of the week, and you've got to go into the local village and just start ordering stuff. But I think that's the only way at our age I'd actually do it.
Yeah.
Because if I was, I don't know, time and everything at the moment is quite precious and constrained. Mm-hmm. But to get thrown in for a week for like a learner's course, and then 6 months later maybe do an intermediate, I think that's the only way it would go for me, and I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
You've got no choice then, have you? It would just be drilled into you.
I bet they're so used to it in that little village. If they do loads of courses, they're like, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Dominique.
Here he comes. Here he comes.
Spotted you a mile off.
Yeah. Should I?
Okay, yeah.
It's a really good point. I never really thought about that side of it.
Yeah, they literally, you
shop.
just stick out like a sore thumb, Hello?
Oh, true. The Penglais, we all went to Penglais then.
Yes, we did.
We did.
I enjoyed Penglais.
I did.
Do you know, looking back, loved it.
Yeah.
I still remember
Good
sitting
times.
in that assembly hall, in that great hall, when we were all getting picked into our forms.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just like, what is this? I'm so blown away. I was just like sat down around loads of people I didn't know, just going like, what's happening? And they said my name, and I was with Glenda Evans, and she was a Welsh form tutor, and I was like, oh, okay, fine. And then I saw other people like Charlie Aldred and Ewan Evans and stuff like that. And getting to know these people was just great over the next 6 years.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
It's so precious, school, isn't it?
It is a
Like,
good time in your
it's-
life. Like loads of people try and tell you when you're younger and you don't really listen. You're like, good, these are going to be some of the best years of your life. And in some ways they are, aren't they? They're not, I wouldn't say they're like the best time of your life, but they are amazing though, aren't they?
They
So
are.
you
you're
get to see your
so-
friends every single
Every
day.
day.
You're not really grafting too much. You haven't got any responsibilities really. You certainly haven't got any bills or like real life problems. And you're just going in and having a hell of a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not it's not a difficult place, I guess, but it's certainly good times.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. You're right about the. I don't want to say it like too much because it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can certainly have your own stresses and issues, and that's part of the reason why we do this podcast.
Yeah.
However, it does seem like, particularly with children and with some other things, that it's slightly easier in Aberystwyth. Like you mentioned, you might be able to take your kids to school in literally in 5 minutes,
Yeah.
as opposed to something like maybe an hour, or you get caught in
Yeah.
traffic. And then just your work as well, your work commute. Not many people commute to Aber, do they? And even if they do, maybe it's like 25 minutes, half an hour, and the
Exactly.
roads are pretty clear and you go there.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's cycle routes anywhere in
Yeah.
Aber really now, and the worst case is you get to the end of a cycle route, then you got to get off your bike and push for a little bit, and then you're at work.
yeah. But I think convenient is the word I'm looking for. A lot of things in your life in Aberystwyth, particularly if you make it that way, are convenient. If you
Yeah.
think about where I work, where my kids go to school, where my partner works, luckily where my mum lives, where my sister lives. I know everyone is not in the same boat. Sometimes your family are sort of spread out and things
Yeah.
like that. But convenient is the word I'll use, I think.
And say if like the kids finish school, like the summertime when we had those really nice days of summer, when was it?
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks or something, wasn't it? Do you remember it got really, really hot? Taking the kids from school down the beach. We're down on the beach, in the water, within about 10 minutes of them finish school.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. You
It's
are not
wonderful,
going
isn't
to
it?
do that in many other places.
No.
You'd have to plan it. It'd be mega stressful on a Saturday, and it would take you an hour to drive there.
Oh, and parking would be an absolute nightmare somewhere else, probably.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
parking, and it'd be really expensive.
Yeah,
It's just, convenience a really good
It's-
word to use,
it's-
actually, and easy.
It's awesome we're talking about it like this, because I remember going through certain times in my life when I was like, fucking hate this place.
I was going to bring this up.
yeah. This is a good thing to bring up
And
and talk about.
I tried to think about it since I knew what the topic was going to be for this podcast. And
Yeah.
I can't remember why I felt like that, because I do not feel that at all anymore.
Yeah, I think I might know. You go ahead, Dave.
I think once you get to a certain age, I think this is my opinion anyway.
I think you're right about
Say
age.
when you get to like 19, 20, 21, you start looking around, don't you? And you think, right, what's there for me here?
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough to land a good job, if you're lucky enough to have parents who've, worked and they've built up a business, and you sink yourself into that, get a trade, and you're doing well, whatever it might be. But sometimes it doesn't quite work out, and you start looking, I need to get out of this place. Place is shit, all that sort of thing. But Aberystwyth, you've got to take things and put it into perspective. That is an absolutely great place to live, but the grass can be greener sometimes in that age as well.
Yeah.
Ages between sort of 20 and 30, for example.
That's when
if
I felt it,
you're career
probably.
driven.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This might not be the place.
No, it's hard to have the perfect place, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just, I think, it's a very. But you're right about the age, and also I think you should go exploring and traveling. And if you do genuinely feel like that, I just want to get out of this place. Great, go and see the world. Go and move to a big city. Like some people are sort of, I don't know if they're like cut out for a city, but they want or they need a city, don't they? Do you know what I mean? I thought
My sister's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
I mean, she moved away after school. She went to Keele University. Then after that, she lived in London. And she's always been in a city since. And now she lives in Cardiff. And she's like, I'm never coming back. I'm not coming back to Aber to live.
it'd probably be quite hard for her, to come back after going down that path.
Yeah.
And another thing is enjoying, isn't it? Some people love a city, some people hate a city. When I was younger, I used to love it, particularly when I went traveling and things. I thought, this is it. When you see a city like Sydney, where it feels like it's got everything, it's like a metropolis.
Yeah. Always something on.
Yeah, and then you've got the beaches within 10 or 15 minute ferry ride, or you drive away, and it feels like this has got everything. But then we go back to the points we made earlier about convenience, and I was looking at Sydney through 20-year-old eyes, 21-year-old eyes, not in the way I would look at it now. I'd still think it's an amazing city, but it wouldn't just be like convenient or easy as pie going to places, and it's very busy, and it is a beautiful city. And loads of other cities are.
So it's sounding like we're building up a sort of a picture here for anyone who's grown up in Abbott of, get your school done and then go for a little wander.
Yeah, I fly the nest, I think.
And then come on back.
And then, I think a lot of people do that.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, and I think it sort of makes you realise what you've got then.
Yes.
Especially what we've got around here. And I get asked that quite a lot. Say, I moved back from Cardiff, back to Aberystwyth. I said, do you miss Cardiff? I'm like, well, yes and no. The vibrance of a city is amazing.
Yeah.
But it's harder with kids, obviously.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I could bring the weather into it again, but sorry to bring up kids again, Med, but
it's not a problem, man.
If it's hammering down with rain, freezing cold, it's dark, there's a lot more options.
Yes.
In a city, for example.
Definitely.
Trampoline parks and really good soft plays, just stuff to do, basically.
Yeah, totally agree.
So I think it's a bit limited around here for options for things like that, but there's still loads of stuff you can do. There is. You just got to go looking. I'll tell you one great place, I mentioned this to someone the other day, is the National Library. They've got a really good room in there for kids now.
Yeah.
And it's free. There's a little cafe just in there as well.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
So I was there on Saturday, and it took my mate, Berg, and his missus and kid there, and they never, obviously from Aberystwyth, they'd never been there. And I said, do you want to meet us there on Saturday? And it is really good. The only thing that annoys me about that place is some days I'm looking out the window and it's hammering it down. I think, oh yeah, we'll go there, and it's Sunday and it's closed.
Sunday.
Oh yeah.
So, and then that brings back to it's a good thing that you mentioned about the limited things. Sometimes Sunday is a good example. If it's raining, particularly when I have kids, you think, right, we could probably go swimming here, or maybe go Moody Calf's half an hour away, or maybe the leisure centre. Limited options.
Yeah, it is.
Pier's okay.
Yeah.
A bit of gambling, a bit of a...
Yeah, well, bowling's there, and then, there's a zombie game that my kids love playing where they shoot the water and stuff.
Gotcha.
That's good.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. I was just thinking that outdoors, because we're obviously outdoorsy, like the beach, bike.
I mean,
mountain biking.
We touched on it earlier. We all grew up going outside.
Yeah.
And we still do that. And there's so much to do here.
There really is.
In respect to that.
In that way, if you're that way inclined, outdoorsy, surfing, mountain biking,
you're sorted.
Hiking, trail
walking,
stuff, you'll really like it. I think if you're not like that, and you're a bit more of a like city slicker sort of urban thing, then maybe it isn't for you. Obviously.
Yeah. But I mean, we got on that note, we got the train station, so you can get a train. You can be in Birmingham in 3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah. You know what? I was going to mention this as a drawback to Aber, actually. Even though I was holidays, I always think about it when I go abroad in Aber. I think we're isolated here in terms of the infrastructure, travel infrastructure. So if you want to get on a plane, you're looking at 3 hours, and that's to get to the airport.
Yeah, true.
Minimum of 3 hours.
Yeah, true.
Liverpool, Bristol, even Cardiff is probably 2.5. That Robin Hood one, and they don't fly everywhere. Good 3 hours to go away. I always used to think that because I used to go away abroad a lot more than I do now.
And that adds on other costs, doesn't it? Like if you take your van, which I guess you probably would, because
parking and stuff.
You got to park your van there then and pay for that.
Yeah,
and you tend to see the people at the airport, and you think they've taken 20 minutes to get here
in an Uber, probably.
Yeah, but I think it's a small price to pay because you've got all the other things. But I do always think about that particularly when you're coming home and you land in Birmingham, and you're like,
3 hours to go.
3.5 hours in the car now.
I know. Yeah. It is a day of travelling, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, so slightly isolated would be a negative for me. But then Wales is a positive as well, isn't it? It's rural Wales and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's like a double-edged sword a little bit.
And it makes it safer, I think, as well. If we had M4 just...
You're right.
Or not, motorway just going just past us.
Yeah.
Be a very different place.
Oh
no, that is true. It's like
I mean, way more litter as well, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you see litter anyway, bastards.
Yeah,
but next to a motorway like the M4 or the M1 or something, with a little turn off. Imagine the turn off down to the industrial estate where you can get your Mackies or whatever.
Oh,
Ugh.
Terrible down there.
No, you're
Really
right.
bad.
Talking about travelling, this just popped in my brain now. You know the coastal road.
Yeah.
So when you're driving either into Aber or you're going out of it,
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. Almost everybody from Aber, we love that coastal road, don't we? When you're driving down that coastal road, right, and it's a really, really beautiful day, and you're looking at the view, right?
I know what you're talking
I was
about.
watching a Jonathan Ross episode about 2 years ago, I think it was, and Kit Harington, which is Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. He told a story about that, saying it was like one of his favourite places to drive.
He doesn't
down.
know. He doesn't know anything.
Yeah, it's
He
like a
doesn't know
weird clip. Yeah, you know nothing, Jon Snow, and it is incredible that either when you're heading into Aber or when you're going out, just that
Oh, it's stunning.
that coastal line.
Yeah.
So when you can basically you're overlooking like Llanarth.
Yes, and you're looking at Aberystwyth
Aber-
maybe.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
can
there's
see
there's the lay-by on the top.
Or the other way.
and you can see Snowdon
Oh,
some days, can't
Yeah,
you?
you can, yeah.
yes.
Do you see that photograph the other day? Who was his name? Scott Waby took a photo
Yeah.
of Constitution Hill, and in the background it was what's the Welsh pronunciation of Snowdon?
Withva.
Yes.
That's one of the best photos I've ever seen.
He is lit at the moment. His Instagram page is amazing. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Has
give
he
another-
done some? I've only seen it briefly once because I think one of you two sent it to the group and I looked at it. But is there some kind of zoomage trickery going on in there?
I thought there must be.
Possibly,
Because it
but
looks very, very close.
That's a skill in itself.
Isn't
you
it
know.
looks so close that I can't remember it looking that close in person, is what I'm trying to say.
There's another
He's a
photographer
wizard.
as well.
I don't know.
There's another photographer around, Matt Wilby. If you're not following him on Instagram, check him out as well.
Is that the drone guy or not?
No, he just takes landscape photos of everything around Aberystwyth.
Okay.
And oh my god,
I'll definitely check.
his
I don't think I
Instagram page
follow
is so
him.
good. He's got like a calendar and everything as well. And
Nice.
yeah, but like a good ambassador for this area.
How
Yeah, of
beautiful it is.
Oh, stunning! Some of his photos are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So good.
so on that note, on nature, like, especially in the winter months, the starlings
Oh,
that we get here,
yeah.
amazing! Didn't think about them.
and it's 5-10 minutes to get to where they are. Or if you're anywhere elevated, which is 90% of Aber, you could see the starlings coming, and you can just see that vista, can't you? The whole of the ocean, that massive sunset, and those huge murmurs of starlings just going off. They named a fucking pub after it, for God's sake, you know?
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. I see them flying over this way, just heading towards
And
the
it's
pier.
like, we're going for a chat.
It's called a murmur, isn't it?
A murmur, yeah.
Yeah.
Murmuration. It's amazing.
Red kites.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kites up at
Nantararian.
Nantarion.
Like places, yeah.
That's it. So, yeah,
natural beauty.
Nantarion is 20 minutes up the road.
Yeah.
And that literally opens. You can get to Mach from there if you cycle. Like, so you could if you want to do a big day, so you could cycle backwards all the way up to Nantarion, and then you can go from Nantarion all the way to Mach if you want. Then get a train home. You're done.
Such a laugh doing mountain biking. I went on a bike ride on Sunday, but on the road with a mate of mine, and we were discussing it because we cycled past it, and like, I just think it was such a laugh mountain biking.
So fun.
It's so much fun.
Really
So
good
fun.
You know, for people who've never done it,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of a climb to get up to the top. Can you hire bikes around here?
Possibly from Summit Cycles,
There we go.
local shop. But I don't think you can hire from up at Nant.
No.
No,
It's a trick there, aren't they, really?
They might be.
Possibly they are, yeah.
Little business opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Dragon's Den.
But
We
you
are
could have such a laugh.
Yeah.
Such a good
And then
day.
have a coffee at the end of it.
Exactly.
Remember that night ride that we did?
Yeah.
That was good, wasn't
That
it?
was really good. That was
Tor-
proper Blair Witch stuff, that was.
Torches on, just see a few twigs and trees you're trying to miss.
Yeah, everything
Yeah,
looks a
good.
little bit different in the dark, doesn't it?
Oh, it
Yeah,
does.
I've only done it once properly, and it was that one time that we went, and it was good, wasn't it?
It was good. Yeah, you got to get some decent lights, but
Lumens, get those lumens.
Oh yeah, but yeah, it's true though. If you haven't done it and you live in Aberystwyth, give it a whirl.
yeah, definitely. Surfing, paddleboarding.
Get in the sea as well as
Get
that's
in
a
the
good
sea.
one. Yes, if you don't.
I
get in
mean,
the
we've
sea,
been
you
going in
live
the
Aber.
sea since can't remember
Yeah.
when.
Yeah, you're missing a trick if you live in Aber and you don't sort of utilise the ocean, at least in the summer.
Fishing.
For real. Yeah, fishing. I mean, we got a harbour. You
Yeah.
can watch it, even if you don't fishing is not your thing. You can stand at the end of a jetty and watch the boats come in or go out. Sounds exciting.
It is.
And the marine is massive now as well, isn't it? It's been really made well.
Yeah.
A lot of boats down there. It's stunning.
Catch
I always
crabs.
remember. This is another thing when I was a kid. Because when I lived out of Aber, I just remember coming into with my dad who was checking the surf. Or Dad cannot come into Aber without going to check the surf, even if he knows what it's like. Anyway, he has to turn right at the bottom of Pengless Hill, and he has to go to Bath Rocks. He has
Gotta
to
have a look.
Yeah.
But where's I going with this? Jetty, trap. God, I can't remember the story.
Surfing.
No, it wasn't surfing. It was about my dad. God, I'll come back
Biking.
to it.
Biking.
No, I can't remember it.
Don't worry about it.
I always do that. I was going on a tangent. I can't remember what my original point is.
When you want to come back in, do it. But I've got one little nugget that came into the back of my head, and it was sort of from a previous episode, and we say like about pet hates and things about social media. And one of the things I used to see, I don't see it as much anymore. I don't know why, but I used to see it quite a lot. And it was people just literally like slagging Aberystwyth off who live here, right? And they probably have the means to leave here, but for some reason they don't. But all they do is talk about how shit it is. And be like, oh, it's rubbish. I can't wait to get out of this place. Never do. You can do it.
Yeah.
It is possible to leave.
There's a train station right there.
Yeah. And it's really weird. So I just feel like maybe they're not utilising all the good stuff that is in Aberystwyth.
They're not seeing.
You know what I mean?
They're not seeing.
Yeah.
Or it is good to go out and see the world and go other places. So go do
that
it
as well.
Go do it.
I totally remembered my point, by the way.
Good.
So we'd usually stop down by the harbour and we'd get out and walk around. And I always remember the smell, right? So you walk underneath the main road. So you're down on the harbour level now,
Yeah.
where all the lobster pots and stuff are.
Yeah.
So if you start at the north end of that, walking down towards Tannable, let's say,
Yeah.
the smell of like fish and lobsters gets increasingly more strong, doesn't it? And still to this day, that smell takes me back to my childhood.
Oh, nice.
But always go, if I'm cycling or whatever, I always make sure I go past it. 'Cause it tickles me every time. It's just like, oh, that is gross. And it just reminds me of
really strong.
the
down
first
there.
time you smell it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Nice place to skateboard down there as well. A little longboard or something, or even a shortboard.
Yeah, skating.
So
Like
skating
I
down
owe Aber a lot. I don't skate as much anymore because it bloody hurts. But like, I've met so many cool people through skating, and I remember we used to skate on streets because there wasn't a skate park here, and it took a lot of the boys like efforts and petitions and all this sort of thing, and finally a skate park was made. We wrecked it in a couple of months, but now they've built one to last, and
Yeah, they have.
it's made out of concrete.
That's
Really
like,
good. and it's
really
busy
good.
all the time.
It is
Lottery
busy.
funded, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
I
that
think so.
is good. Going back to the bloody kiddos again, it's really good to take your kids down there.
Yeah.
There's kids down there all the time.
I
all
do it
day.
a lot in the summer. I haven't done it for a while recently. I think it's just the weather probably, but it's really good down there.
No, it's good.
Yeah, really good.
A lovely summer's day. You can, because it's next to the cycle path too, isn't it?
Exactly.
So you can cycle or
Yeah.
whatever with your kids, and then
Yeah.
let them have a little spin up and down the ramps, and then off down the beach. Then
Yeah.
it is a great place.
Another, going to go completely different, but the art centre. I know you work there, mate, but like that's a great place.
Yeah.
To have that on our
amazing.
doorstep
Yeah.
is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was on that night, and I got a ticket 15 minutes before he came on. But Jason Fox, that guy from SES,
Who dares wins?
wins from the Channel 4 programme,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was there 2 Fridays ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yeah,
I didn't.
it's sitting in the Great Hall.
sitting in there,
Telling
just like
some
there he
stories.
is. Yeah, talking about his
Yeah.
life, talking about his upbringing, talking about
Yeah.
the stories of him being in the special forces and things. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's
Tim Peake's in next month,
it's right. It's right up there. Yeah,
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
So ABBA's location is very interesting, isn't it? Like, especially I find it in terms of where I work, because you have to go up to Bangor or roughly that area to get anything that big.
Yeah,
Or south, you have to go Carmarthen, possibly even the bigger cities,
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
or Newtown. So it's like we're stuck right in the middle of this like bubble, like the ABBA bubble. We could probably talk about that. So we catch big shows. It's really really good, and we get good good audiences because a lot of people in ABBA.
Yeah, there
And
is.
it's just up the hill.
You know what? I love the art centre, and it's a good shout as well, the art centre. I was there taking my daughter to ballet,
Yeah,
and then I bumped into Oriel, had a quick chat, and then I literally found out that evening that he was on. It might be a little bit of a mixture of me not looking as well, but sometimes I feel like in the art centre, that is a perfect example. I don't know about it. I don't know how
Yeah.
I know about it, but I think I'd like it on the Facebook pages.
similarly,
I feel like I don't know.
I didn't know about that guy until that evening.
So I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe the advertising needs to be better, or I need to be looking harder. But sometimes I feel like I can miss some really good things that the art centre has to offer, you know?
I mean, ideally, it was just your interests, like massive companies do on Instagram or whatever your social media is. Like, you know, Reebok will put an advert up without me knowing about Reebok stuff. And I'm like, oh, sick. Reebok pumps are back. You know, that sort of thing. It'd be sick if the art centre had that, so it would invade me almost.
Yeah. Thing is that because I don't know enough about the algorithm, but because I like it on Facebook, I assumed that like that Foxy guy, that I would see him pop up on that feed. But for some reason I didn't, and I would have potentially gone if I could have sorted out.
I think it's an ongoing thing that we're trying to grab and get hold of.
And I do understand though it does cost money. It's not like I get it. Advertising, you know, it's not just free and magical, and you can put things everywhere. But yeah,
no, we email out because we're trying to cut paper because we're trying to be more sustainable. We do put posters up, and there's all our social media outlets: Instagram. I think we're on Twitter too. LinkedIn, if that's still a thing.
LinkedIn is definitely a thing.
Yeah, and Instagram as well.
Maybe if I was on Twitter and Instagram, which I'm not. I'm sort of on Twitter, but only got a profile so I can read a link or something like that. Maybe I would have seen it then, but I'm not on them. So,
what's the best show you've seen up there, Med?
Oh, it was the other night. I promise you. I know that's really convenient for me because my memory's crap, but I watched An Evening Without Kate Bush, right?
Oh, I bet good.
It was on Saturday night, and
what? I heard about that too late, and I on the same night, that ballet night. No, sorry, or the week after ballet night. Sorry, I'm not interrupting, but I noticed it on the TV, and I looked at the date, and I'd missed it. But sorry, carry on.
Oh, it was honestly.
Was that a tribute act to Kate Bush?
I thought it was going to be just a tribute act, right? And it essentially was, but the lady performing, who was absolutely incredible, in my opinion, better voice than Kate Bush, but
wow.
She knew so much about Kate Bush as well. So she would tell you some facts or little interesting stories, and then she'd sing a song with a bit of audience participation.
Amazing.
There, and honestly, you left with goosebumps because Wuthering Heights was the last one.
Oh, amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah. It was a wonderful show, that was.
Was it full in there, Med?
Yeah, it was almost full.
Yeah.
I think we had like 7 seats not sold.
Am I mixing up? Woman's Work, is that one of her songs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Love that song. Really like that song.
Another
great
she
Kate
played
Bush
that
song.
She played that in the first half, and I didn't know that was Kate Bush until that night.
It's an amazing song, that is.
Because it's
Cloud
on
busting, running up that hill. They're all just
some real good ones. But I remember, Woman's Work. That's a great song. They sometimes play on radio too, and I think crank that up when that's on.
Yeah, if you can go and see that show, if it's still touring, I can't remember. But An Evening Without Kate Bush was sensational.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best things I've seen up there recently.
I remember seeing Lee Evans there years ago, the comedian.
Lee Evans, yeah.
Long time ago.
We've had Lee Evans there. Oh yeah.
Mark Lamar.
Yes.
I don't know who that is.
I remember
it is up there, you know.
I think that was when he was on Buzzcocks as well, or when it might even
Oh,
still be
yeah, I
going,
know
but like Buzzcocks felt bigger, didn't it? 10, 15 years ago. Never mind the Buzzcocks. People actually watched it, didn't they? I don't know if it's on now, but
I was sitting there on pins the whole time because
were
Mark
you at the
Lamar,
front?
Yeah. Oh well, yes.
Yeah, that's the worst.
And I think the guy literally behind me on my left shoulder had it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Nothing worse.
No,
is there?
I know.
I saw a night.
What do you say to them? You can't heckle them.
They're going to outdo you every time.
Exactly that. They are going to be shut. They do it as a profession.
Yeah.
They're going to rip you to shreds. Even if you think you're pretty quick-witted and clever and confident. No.
Not a chance.
No.
We've got Comedy Fest that comes to Aber, and there's Mac Comedy Fest as well. There's lots of Comedy Fests around Britain, but like Aber Comedy Fest always has James Acaster, who's one of my favourite comics like ever. I think
is he like the
nerdy clever one?
Yes.
Who's
He's quite funny. Isn't he?
I hope he's okay because he's always quite not miserable, but ironically miserable maybe. I don't know. Yeah. But he did a 2-night show called Heckler's Welcome, Heckler's Welcome, I think. So the first night in Aber, I worked it, and he's on the Great Hall, and he explained what the show was about. And it's basically, he worked on heckles. But he had content, but he worked on heckles, right?
That's amazing.
So it started off okay. People, wanker, shouting whatever. He's like, but then this lady, she said, "Oh, get on with the show," right? And honestly, it didn't ruin the show, but it just stopped it dead. And he's just like, "Well, the show's on." Like, this is, and then there was this back and forth with this one person for like basically 30 minutes. We heard none of his content, and everybody's going, "I want my money back."
So that interaction, it wasn't even that entertaining.
No, it was mundane.
So that is a nightmare. And that woman is sort of like, he should have probably not let it drag on that long, but she ruined it as well. I suppose.
It was really awkward.
But then he was welcoming it in a way.
I mean, he couldn't just tell her to be quiet. You know, it was the content. It was the premise of the show. It was hecklers welcome. So.
Yeah, but that's a heckle.
Yeah,
I know.
He didn't like it.
No, it wasn't that he didn't like it. It was just it steered the show in a direction that was just very weird and quiet and not funny.
God.
But then the next night I heard was absolutely flawless. He did all his content. There was heckles in the perfect spots.
Right, and it was amazing.
And I didn't work that one.
No.
I had to be there with this awkward audience, like all saying, "Is this it?" Like, I was like, "Oh yeah, it is."
I love watching comedy acts. Recently I went to go and watch Nick Helm, and I did that joke to Nicola about, she's like, "Oh, did you book a ticket?" It's like, "Yeah, we both find him really, really funny." I was like, "Yeah, no, we're literally in the middle on the front." She's like, "Yeah, what?" yeah, middle on the front.
Walking late as well.
Showed her the map on my phone. Oh, thank God, like I picked it like in the middle, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But if anybody listened to this, went to that show, that was incredible. I just particularly find his sense of humor funny, and I don't know, he's really, really good. And actually, he spoke about his own mental health struggles, and he was really, really open about it. And I don't think, not that I see loads of live shows, but you don't often see someone that open on a platform that he has, and he's got programs out on the BBC, and he spoke about it specifically to do with COVID, so it was part of his routine, and it was really interesting actually. And he spoke about really honestly about being on antidepressants, and whether if you're on them, try and find the right ones, because he had them, found out they were the wrong ones, and he said they were awful, and then he had, I don't know, it was really, really funny, informative, and refreshing to see a comedian being that open about his own mental health struggles.
That's interesting, because Jason Fox was at the same 2 weeks ago. Very open about his PTSD, very open about his issues, and where he almost came to an end, and then sort of brought himself back round. But that side of it as well, it's really commendable, like listening to how people get out of that situation as well, isn't it?
I suppose it shows that things are slightly changing.
I was just to say that. So So I've been at the Arts Centre for 10 years, and I could definitely say it's a positive upward slope of acts, be it male or female, are openly addressing mental health. Especially if their show isn't like a scripted show. If it's a comic or possibly an improvised show or whatever. Yeah. I remember seeing the show Alfie, which is about Gareth Thomas, the gay rugby player.
I read his book. Yeah. It was good.
And unfortunately, he wasn't starring in it. That would have been cool, but I didn't know that he was almost going to kill himself one night, and he was up on a cliff, and he was ready to go. Because everything was so against him, and I think since that day, I can remember that was like a milestone in the positivity of spreading, that it's okay to be not okay, and and I would say a lot of people that come to the Arts Centre, acts now, are constantly spreading that word.
No, that's brilliant. That's really, really good.
Just to touch on the sporting thing there, because that must have been, it shouldn't be at all, because it's 2023, but he probably found it quite difficult being in such a sort of like testosterone fueled masculine game of rugby to come out as gay, isn't it?
Oh my gosh,
which seems crazy in 2023. You should be allowed to do you know what I mean, whatever you want. And then it made me think, because you were talking about that, about rugby, and like you think about football, like it's 2023, right? Has anybody openly come out in a major league of football like the Premier League?
I think not.
Crazy, right?
Not that I can think of.
And there's no way.
I don't follow it enough.
No,
but that would be headlines.
But what I'm trying to say is that's crazy, right?
It
Is
is
it
crazy.
within through the numbers?
Yeah.
100%. But
Yeah, you're
crazy,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah, there's literally.
Well,
You probably count it on one hand, I guess, in the past
You've-
10 years, maybe. I
Mad,
don't
isn't
know.
it?
you've stood on terraces and stuff. You know what it's like.
I know.
It's
I know.
absolutely horrific.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Oh
I think there's
God.
lots of different things that add to it in football, isn't it? That probably make it incredibly difficult to come out with anything. Mental health struggles, your sexuality, issues, I don't know, loads of other stuff. Doesn't seem very forgiving.
No,
It's not.
Fans can be tough.
Oh, some fans are scum. Like, it's horrible what you see and hear on the stands. Not to mention the farting. Oh my gosh.
And the bad food.
Oh,
In the veg.
What are they eating? Like, oh my god. Oh my gosh. No.
That's a good tangent about Art Centre, actually. There's a lot of good things. That's what I'm trying to do, is put a positive spin on things, to say that there is stuff going on around ABBA. And especially like if you go outside of ABBA, I've always gone south. I don't know why. I've always... And then me and my wife went to Zip World 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
a week or so ago.
Is that Blaenau? Blaenau Festiniog?
Yeah.
It's the quarry, right?
The
Yeah.
big quarry. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a belated sort of birthday present for her.
Nice. Good spot.
North Wales is stunning.
Yeah.
Did you drive through basically Snowdonia?
Pretty much, yeah. You know that Talallin up the pass, and then you go all the way up, and then it's just absolutely beautiful around there. And
It is.
we're going to take the kids up that way more now, rather than heading to like Swansea or it's amazing.
So I want to. Can I book you and the kids? Or it'll have to be a Tuesday or a Thursday. But can I book you and the kids and your kids as well? We'll go up that Talallin Pass. We'll sit there all day in the sun and watch planes.
Oh,
mate.
the planes one. That's a
Got to
good
do
one.
the planes. Got to
So,
get that in
what
there
is that?
somewhere.
That is
The
a
Mach
good one.
Loop.
Right.
Yeah.
Just explain what that is quickly.
So if you don't know the Talallin Pass is that road that takes you from Talallin Lake all the way up towards the Cross Foxes pub, and it's where the Devil's Pulpit is, that weird little knob of rock. You can stand up on top of that ridge, so you're above the road, and jets, Hercules, whatever's flying that day, fly underneath you, and you're on top of them watching them.
Wow.
And it's so addictive. One might not come round for like 2 or 3 hours, but there's loads to walk and go and see anyway.
Yeah.
And you can hear him coming like, "Ooh," and he's like, "Oh, look at the camera."
So is it just Tuesdays and Thursdays?
It's not just those days, but those are the days that I think the Facebook group Mach Loop Open Forum say that is more popular with planes and
Cool.
jets. Yeah.
I really want to see that. I would love to do it.
I went up on my birthday, which is on a Tuesday this last year. Saw 2 Texan fighter jets, which are just training jets, and nothing else all day. And then the next day, I saw that 4 Hercules looped 4 times. It's just luck of the draw, you know.
Yeah.
Like, wish I'd went the day after.
It makes me think, you know, when you, because you've sent me videos and pictures before of you going there with like your dad or your sister or Rachel or whatever, and it makes me think of that scene with Bane in the plane.
Oh, with the wings come off. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the very beginning.
Yeah, because I think it's because it's in like quite a picturesque sort of like valley with like a lake and things, isn't it? And then Bane is like you know that scene from
Oh, yeah. Very good scene.
That is from
Dark Knight Rises.
the third one, right?
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah.
Amazing scene. Talking about movies again.
Oh, so nice.
Chris
Well,
Nolan.
We've got to
Bugs
do
me.
movies number 2. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
we will.
Yeah.
No, yeah. No, we will do.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But yeah, just short story. That is a really good thing to kill a day with in the sunshine, because you could take your little bikes up there, and there's behind, when you're up on the ridge behind, there's a road that goes all the way down into Corris, and you could just bum around down there and do what you want, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go up there way more often now. I know we're talking about outdoors again, but it's kind of like our thing, and just getting out. I know we touched on the mental health thing as well. Even just walking on the prom. We've said it so many times.
Yeah.
I do it if I'm like 10 minutes early before taking my daughter to nursery. I'll take her on the prom for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And even then, you can see in her, she's 3, right? She should be a little bit tired. I know she's a little bit excited for nursery, but just a blast of fresh air. She's buzzing after it.
Sea air as well. I think
Sea air.
it's not just the
Ocean
fresh air, is it?
air.
I think it's
No.
the sea air.
And it sort of sets you up for the day. We've talked about that loads already, but
Yeah.
totally advise that. Talking about the prom and the beach. that cocaine hoard that landed
Oh, recently, yeah.
on. Can we just talk about that? Because it was like
Yeah.
massive news. I know we're going off on all sorts of tangents here, and we could talk about
It's
Aberystwyth
local Aber
for-
news.
And a hell of a lot of
news.
money as well. Because I don't know whether it was true
Someone's
or
head's
not,
going to roll.
but it wasn't quite 100, was it? But it was in the high 70s, 80s, 90s mil, right?
That's what they reckon.
Or street value, I'm
Street
guessing
value,
maybe they were
street
talking about.
value,
Like,
mil.
say you cut it up and you sold it all. I guess that's where they get the figure from, isn't it? For how many kilos of cocaine.
Yeah.
So ABBA's terrible for rumours, isn't it? Right. So
this is like
Oh,
the thing I want to get
rumour
on
mill.
to. You have a rumour mill.
I'm sure we've got 3 different aspects of the story, probably.
I think I'll have a similar-ish one today, I think. But, yeah, I think.
I just want to talk about like the discussions people were having, right, when that stuff was just like randomly turned up on the beach, because apparently like another little tiny bag or whatever turned up in Aberystwyth, and then they thought someone was in Clarach. And I was having an open conversation with people, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, we just go and get some of it, and then like we'll sell it." I was like,
No.
"What?
No.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with it?
Insane.
No.
What are you thinking? You're either gonna have the police knocking on your door and you can spend the rest of your life in prison, or you can have the cartel knocking on your door.
Yeah, or whoever the hell.
Who the hell is?
Yeah.
There's just no way you want to go near that stuff.
People have been killed for a lot less than 80, 90 million pounds.
Yeah.
I don't want to anywhere near it. I just think it's a cool story. Crazy that it just happened to wash up. And then I had loads of screenshots on my phone being sent to me of that Skyscanner app that I've got on my phone.
Oh,
and I've got
yes.
that Skyscanner app. The reason I initially did it is because the on-call air ambulance.
Yeah, you see it
Through work, I need to check out the lighting rig for the air ambulance when it lands in the dark. It's just part of the role that we've got to do. So I get that, and then I look on it and I see where the air ambulance is, and then I know how long I've got to get there, get the lighting rig out so they can land safely. Anyway, that app, it was like a plane going up and down, up and down, up and down, about 20 times, what looked like 20 times. I'm assuming looking for these parcels of coke.
Yeah. Or dropping it off.
Yeah, or in some way related to it.
Yeah. I heard that very same
It
thing.
was even on TikTok. I saw a video on TikTok, and it was like that Skyscanner app, and it was like moving in it, and it showed the lines of where the plane had gone and stuff.
And I heard that the plane had a call sign, I think it's called, or a serial number that was from Florida.
Oh, wow.
So it'd come over
I didn't
from
know that.
Florida and
Whoa.
was doing the things.
Oh, gonna be a buzzkill, yeah.
Well,
Is it not
please
true?
do, please do.
I don't think it is. I
Is
think
it
was
not true?
I think it was like
It
a Coast
might
Guard
be-
or something.
It might have been a complete rumor. You know
You know what?
I don't
I'm going to try and find, not now, but I'm going to try and find that that
The
TikTok
screenshot.
where it showed that. Yeah, because I must admit, I didn't go on the Skyscanner myself. This is like screenshots that were sent to me and a TikTok video that I watched. So just put it out there. I'm not saying it's 100% true. I saw those screenshots and the
You'd
video.
have had to go on the Scanner live while that
Oh,
was
while
in the
it-
air.
exactly,
And
which-
I only found
which I
out about the
didn't.
drugs like probably the day after.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's
I
too
didn't
late,
know.
isn't it?
Yeah, I
But I
wasn't
heard,
on that.
you know, you mentioned that bag in Aberystwyth.
Yeah.
I heard that there was a helicopter spotted landing on the beach and going off with something or dropping something off.
What?
Yeah, any truth to that out there, ABBA? Who knows?
Oh my
I don't know.
gosh, who knows? Who knows?
I've heard that there was drugs washed up in like near Harlech and Barmouth.
Really?
Yeah, the same Dior bags. Any truth to that? I don't know.
Scary, isn't it?
Why do they always pick like a weird like knockoff looking like Louis Vuitton sign or like a Christian Dior sign? Like, what,
Nothing
man?
against it if
What?
you're listening. I think it's a great idea.
Same thing what they did with pills, like
Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi's on the pill. Like,
Oh, yeah,
like it's like I guess you got to pick something to put on something illegal, but yeah, it
Yeah.
seems
No, I wanted to
crazy.
touch on that because it was like massive news.
It was on
Wasn't
all the
it?
news outlets
It
and
was.
everything, and
Died of death now, though. That news, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's happened with that?
It's gone real quiet.
Has anyone been
Investigate
arrested?
must be arrested,
Or
I mean, the drugs probably came from a boat pretty far afield.
Yeah.
So
because there was a
don't know.
huge storm,
Who
wasn't there,
knows?
before?
Yeah.
And then it was washed up on Tannerbrook Beach. So I mean, they would have been out at sea, either dropped off or mistakenly or on purpose. And
this is
washed
it.
in.
I think if it washed in, not everything does, but a lot washes both way. Like I
Yeah,
don't know
it
if it's
goes up,
the
doesn't it?
the currents is like jellies.
Longshore
isn't it?
drift.
When the jellies come on, isn't it? It's normally both those big jellies. They normally
yeah.
wash up there and other things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking about washing up, do you remember years ago down by the Glen, there was that massive buoy?
Yeah.
That massive
I do remember.
buoy.
I do remember that. And sometimes big
That was scary. It was
ships
so
as
big.
well. I think I got a photo somewhere on my phone of that boy.
It was massive.
Years
It was
ago,
like something
though.
off Star Wars, that was.
It was freakishly
It was
big. Wasn't it?
huge.
Yeah. I think when something washes up like that, everyone's like going down the beach, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going
Or
down
if
the
you
beach
see
to it.
you see out to sea a big like ship, like
Yeah.
a frigate or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love seeing
It's
that
like, what's
on
that?
on South Beach. So if you're like, you know, surfing or even just on the prom or on your paddleboard or whatever, I love seeing like a boat out there. I don't know. Is it
that's cool, isn't it?
reminds me of like the Goonies or something? I don't know.
Yes.
It's just cool, isn't it? Seeing like the sunset, it makes it way more interesting because we get incredible sunsets.
The
here
sunsets in
Aberystwyth.
Aber.
They are incredible. And then when they go over, so you get the silhouette of a boat or like a yacht or something, it's amazing. It looks like
Yeah,
you're
there's
in
your postcard.
Asia or something.
Oh, it is so good. And I think when it's that hot in Aber and the sunset, you don't need to be anywhere else.
Like
No,
when
really
it was,
absolutely not.
why-
Absolutely not.
35. I think you talked about those 2 weeks, and we went swimming in the sea almost every day.
Yeah.
Like after work, I was just going straight in and like my pants on my shorts or something, and it was like
Slipping off in the car.
35. It was like 35 degrees some days.
It was unreal.
Like
So good.
I mean, wow.
But even this week, didn't it get to like 14?
It was
It's
14.
February.
It was 14, and it was a hell of a
But
day.
last February we had a weird 2 weeks of really hot weather and big surf.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't quite 2 weeks, maybe like 8-9 days. And it was just phenomenal. I wonder if it's a thing now.
Maybe.
You know?
Maybe.
sun and surf.
I just want to
Bliss.
touch on like nightlife-y restaurants and
Okay,
stuff like
yeah.
that we got around here, just real quickly. But nightlife, I don't go out that much anymore. I'll be completely honest. Peer pressure days are well and truly gone. But there's stuff going on. You got a thing going on like this.
Oh, so yeah, a friend of mine called Dio has he's recently started. I'm a metal fan, and I know it's been noticeably lacking in Aberystwyth. And I was chatting to Dio about it last year, and he started a promotion company, and he started to get gigs back into the SU and the Angel. So hit him up, check him out on Instagram, Stitched Up Promotions, and see what's coming up. We got Raven coming up, who's this like old school thrash band up in the SU at the beginning of March. And then there's a System of a Down and Killswitch Engage tribute act coming to the SU, which is going to be insane.
I'm
fun.
if I'm able to go to that, I'm gonna go to that.
Yeah, I'm keen
It's
for that.
I think it's a Saturday night, that one. So yeah, see what you can do.
Yes.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get lit. And
I
raucous.
hopefully
Good fun.
I'll be with you and Dave. Hopefully.
What's your favourite place to eat in Aber?
Oh, do you know? It depends. It
That's a good
fluctuates.
question, you know. That's a
I
very, very
love
good
going to the Glen and having like a pub meal, a pie and mash and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's really good service there, and it's a little bit, in my opinion, it's a little bit expensive, but you know what you're getting, and it's consistent, really consistent. If you're a little bit flashy, I like going to Baravan. Once again, that's quite consistent. It starts to feel a little bit pretentious there now. I don't know. I've been to SY23 twice, and I've had a really good time there. I recommend the breakfast, actually, when they open again for breakfast. It's cheaper than like Nero.
Yeah.
It's really good, and it's like proper homemade.
Lovely.
There's a really underrated place that I go to for breakfast and lunch, which is called a Gornel,
Oh, I've heard about this.
which is the old.
I know the one.
It's
Grail,
by the market.
The old
town.
Grail.
The old
yeah.
Grail. The old Grail.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I've heard very good things.
that
I
chef.
haven't eaten there,
That
yeah.
chef used to be in Piscotti.
Yes.
Okay.
Pavel,
Yeah.
good man.
Yeah.
I think that's probably it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Throw
If you
Medina
know
there.
where to go, that's half the battle. Innit? I think. Yeah. For me, breakfast is Medina's. I love having a Medina's breakfast.
Medina's
me
really
and
good.
me and Nick will go there. Sometimes if we can get an hour off in the morning away from the kids, we'll have like a little breakfast date because it's not always possible to do the proper date, isn't it? So I would say that. If you want to travel a little bit further afield, the Farmers is really good. Farmers do great. Yeah, really
Yeah, what a
good.
name.
Random one. It's quite a good takeaway. I know me and Dave have definitely had it. Penguin Pizza. It's quite nice if you want a little takeaway.
Okay,
That is not necessarily a sit-in, I would say.
No.
I would say get your pizza and take that pizza away. And but yeah, Medina's.
Just on Medina,
farmers?
just while we're on point, have you had the secret summer Medina experience
No.
down at the marina?
I've been there. I haven't eaten there, but I know exactly where it is.
So they don't do meals.
Yeah.
But you could sit there, you can get a beer, have a look at the harbour in the baking sun, and have meats and your little olives, nibs, loads of nibbles,
Very
almost
nice.
like a tapas,
and sit there all day
going on there. Oh, and then that was the other one I was going to say. Ultra Comida.
Oh yeah.
So Ultra Comida, Farmers, Medina's. And also SY23. You reminded me of it. Me and Nick had Sunday lunch at SY23.
Yep.
That is a really good Sunday lunch, and that is coming back on.
Nice.
So you can go and sit in and have a Sunday lunch, and it's lovely there.
Nice.
Lovely there.
Good.
Also, it's not the SY23 tasting menu that's like £200. Maybe it's called SY23 Courtyard. So just to say that out there, it isn't like the mega.
It's a bit confusing.
Yeah, it's the SY23 Courtyard, which is the same as the breakfast with the fire and the glass windows. It's that.
Oh, the outdoors bit.
It's not like
the indoor
the
bit.
Michelin one.
Cool.
If you know what I mean. I'd love to eat there, but I think it's like £200 a head or something. So I bet it's incredible though.
I haven't been. I really want to try Jonah's.
I haven't been either.
Really,
I haven't been either.
Really good.
And I
love
Lots of good
fish.
things about that. Keep meaning to go there.
Like you can get fish and chips there and stuff. Yeah.
But you can get like fish curry. It's really, really good. It's all seafood based, obviously.
Is that opposite where
Jonah's is?
Yeah, Jonah's is on the corner. Yeah.
Yes, where Cheap Charlie's is the old Cheap Charlie's.
Yeah,
still Cheap Charlie's now, isn't it? It's on that street.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
really want to try it.
long-lasting shop, isn't it?
But Medina for me as well.
Yeah,
Love
Medina's-
Medina.
Love
It's like
Medina.
a
Feels so-
favourite of Aber, isn't it?
Yes, it
Always
is.
feel like so welcome and warm and comfortable and just a nice place.
Good food.
I like that it's big in there as well.
I love it.
I love that taking the kids there sometimes. And I remember they don't have it anymore. And one of the big reasons why I used to love going to have a meal or breakfast in Medina's, they used to have a wooden play kitchen there in the corner in one of the rooms. And that is so beneficial when you have young kids because they've got the same thing in the cafe in the National Library. I love that because it actually gives you a little bit of time to have a coffee or to eat. So if anyone is listening from Medina's here, put that kitchen back in.
Yeah. God, we're hitting an hour now, so I don't know what you want to do. Do you want to start?
We'll do nightlife quickly.
Okay,
Nightlife
go,
quickly.
go, go.
Old
Yeah,
and new.
yeah, we're on.
Nightlife quickly. Old and new. The
Old and
bay.
new.
The
yes.
bay. I want to talk about the bay.
That's a belter.
Go.
Downstairs in the bay, upstairs in the bay.
Right. So upstairs is
Glen.
usually
You said the
old
Glen.
school
Pound party Monday nights.
pound party. There's so many
Remember
things.
them?
There's so
Yeah.
many things. There's so many things. Pound party, like by the pier. You pay a £1 for everything. No, you pay normal prices in the pier inn. Get your stamp. Happy
Yeah.
smiley face on your hand.
Yeah.
Yes,
Go
remember.
upstairs for £1. Everything's £1. Pints are £1.
Yeah.
Shots are £1. Pint of
Apple sours.
That's £11. See you later.
I actually remember you doing that.
I remember you doing that.
Pint
as
of
well.
apple sours.
Pint of Apsow.
Unreal.
the bay
But
is good.
nowadays, if I go out, I usually end up in the Angel, and I always go home feeling a bit dirty and a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Don't know what that
music
is, but
sometimes
that's
in the
just how I
Angel
feel.
is pretty good, particularly if you like your sort of drum and bass.
Castle Hotel for the rugby, always.
I tell you what, you just reminded me. Probably the best pub in Aberystwyth and Castle.
Shipping. I was going
Shippen
to say
Castle's really nice pub.
Very
really,
good.
really nice pub.
Love
Yes.
it in there.
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Love it.
Love it.
Homely, nice,
Warm.
The array
Welcoming.
of beers.
Oh yeah, it's got a
There's
good array of
Guinness
beers.
there. There's Beavertown
Neck oil.
oil.
Jukebox.
Pool.
Yes, it's
Pool.
got
Yeah,
everything
there's
you
pool in
need.
the corner
Yeah.
as soon as you walk in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the right
Also,
side.
the pier snooker hall, whatever that is.
Oh,
called,
I love that place.
that's
Love it.
really good. The darts,
Yeah.
the air hockey.
Yeah.
That's
That
a
weird
great
sand
place to have
game.
time.
I don't know what it's
Yeah,
called.
that's what I'm on about.
Sand
That
hockey.
air
It's
hockey
like
thing.
curling, isn't it? It's brilliant, that game is.
And you know they do Guinness in there, and you can quite happily sit in there on a sports day, watch your sports, play some of those sports.
Yeah. Not quite
Walk
a
home,
Death Star
toddle home.
or a 99p vodka from Lord Beechings. It's not quite the old. Remember that? We used to get the
Death Stars.
99p triples, splash of Coke, and if you wanted more than that, you had to pay extra. And then you go into the Cambrian, £7 for a Death Star. Go hard, £3.50. Dishwater, steaming, and then you go up to have an Admiral wrestling on the floor.
Then you wake up on Tuesday. Good grief.
A little pub crawl.
Yeah.
Good times.
Rumours.
I'm banned.
I used to love going rumours, you know.
I always found rumours. I don't get me wrong, I like rumours. I sound really old, yeah? It's too loud in there for me.
It reminds me.
Trying to talk to someone. I mean, the band, it feels like I'm in the band.
I know exactly what you mean.
Thing is,
It's not
though,
anything.
live music is good, though, isn't it? But I know what you're saying.
It is.
Say if you don't like the act.
A little bit.
Take it down a notch.
Try to have a conversation here, mate. Like that.
Oh, that did sound old then, but it's a cool place. Yeah, especially in the summer.
Something really attractive about sitting outside there in the summer, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because you're next to the river, but sort of can't smell it.
Yeah.
Aberystwyth in the summertime is very, very good.
It is very, very good, and I'm looking forward to it.
If
Yeah,
you've
me
got,
too.
if you got
'Cause
the
it's
weather,
coming.
because obviously it does rain in the summer here, but if you get the sunshine, summer, Aber, it's very good.
Yes.
I just want to end on just to remind everybody about the Dad's Club, which happens once a month up on the Wine, and then Lee Coulson.
That's really weird.
That is really weird.
Our lights have
If
just
you're
gone off.
watching, the lights have just gone off. We're finishing up anyway. Lee Coulson runs a men's sporting men, which is on a Monday night in Penglice Basketball Hall.
Mm-hmm.
So just for people who just want to go out, shoot a few hoops, and have a chat.
Get your fitness up.
We're in the pitch
Good.
black here, so we're ending up.
On that note,
On that
weird
note.
little ABBA thing, that
Yeah.
power
Yeah.
cut. Who knows?
But yeah, thanks boys.
No worries.
Enjoyed that.
That was really good fun.
Nice one.
Brill. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.